Welcome to Rated Radio, the show where artists and albums are pitted against each other while their songs get rated on a scale of 0 to 10. I'm your host, Shane Wyndham, and this is Tupac versus the Notorious B.I.G. Hope you're ready for a fight. As always, the albums here were rolled at random. We will start with Biggie Smalls, the Ready to Die album from 1994. I'm actually covering the remaster, so 2 additional tracks here. Of the 19 tracks, I thought 8 were great, and none of those got a flawless rating. My bottom track was Suicidal Thoughts, and my top track was Juicy. The music makes me feel like I'm watching a top 100 film in theaters, but it's got commercial breaks. I'd recommend this artist to fans of Mobb Deep, Ghetto Boys, Ice Cube, LL Cool J, and Wu-Tang Clan. Then there was Tupac with his debut. Crazy that it rolled that way, but yeah, we got Tupacalypse Now from 1991. Of the 13 tracks, I thought 2 were great, and none of those got a flawless rating. My bottom track was Young Black Male, and my top track was Brenda's Got a Baby. The music makes me feel like I'm at a hip-hop concert put on by the Black Panthers. I'd recommend this artist to fans of Naughty by Nature, ICP, Eazy-E, Tech Nine, and Beastie Boys, at least insofar as the sound we got from the debut goes. Please like or subscribe if you're still listening in, and remember, I rate way more music over on the Patreon page. You can see nearly all songs and albums I rate at no cost by clicking join for free at patreon.com/rated radio. There are even some extra perks to find there, like re-rated albums from early seasons of the show, and a quick reference for folks who only want to see how many 8s, 9s, and 10s each album landed. As a critic, Patreon is where I live, so come see the mountain of searchable content you're otherwise missing out on. Tupac fan though I am, I've never been very big on his debut, much of which is just down to questionable production value of the lackluster instrumentals. So even though I somehow have lived my entire life as a rap obsessive without hearing Biggie's debut, I had a good feeling about how this was going to shake out, and I was correct to assume, as Wallace won this battle without question. The only thing I could even point to in Pac's favor when it comes to the ratings is Brenda's Got a Baby rating higher than any Notorious track did. But even that doesn't feel like more than cold comfort considering the track in question has only a single, albeit masterful, verse. From a technical perspective, Ready to Die's production makes Tupacalypse sound like something recorded in a closet. And while I'd eventually grow tired of Chris's braggadocious vocal content of gun violence, drug dealing, and discussion of women as disposable points of pleasure, I can't deny that I genuinely and consistently enjoy Big's rhythm, rhymes, and clever use of analogy. The man is simply listenable to a degree that Shakur never manages here, with his simpler focus tending to be geared more toward the speed and volume of his delivery. What I think makes Pac such an undeniable force to be reckoned with, though, is twofold: his storytelling and his political messaging. These make him instantly easier to relate to than Biggie Smalls, even if Pac's star wasn't shining all that bright at this stage of his career, and his lyrical content could always be hit or miss when it comes to social progression. To deservedly knock the Ready to Die LP for its flaws, I'd note that plenty of choruses were weak, the melodies are nearly never changing on a given track, the skit bloat doesn't add to the affair so much as it subtracts, and I loathe that this is one where the producer, Puff Daddy in this case, couldn't stop inserting himself all over the backing wall of sound. I'd love to praise Tupacalypse Now for having more in the way of unique instrumentals, instead of leaning heavily on samples the way Ready to Die does, but Shakur's instrumentals aren't anywhere near as interesting as his words. Ultimately, if you're hoping I'll speak to more than the debuts, I'd argue that both artists bettered one another in the grand scheme, which is what makes their murders all the more tragic. Considering the amount of successful music we've seen from them posthumously, I really do believe the world was robbed by their untimely deaths. I like to imagine a world in which they lived long enough to both tell Sean Combs to get bent, then went on to do some killer collabs. But this debut matchup is what I'm tasked with considering today, and it seriously is a lot like asking people if they prefer a solid Eminem LP or one of ICP's less popular B-side compilations. Yes, a minority of folks would choose the Juggalo disc no matter what, but the vast majority are going to go with Eminem. I happen to dig all of the artists in question, but Notorious has the upper hand here in terms of polished appeal. Where you're apt to adore Tupac's debut album, it's likely to only be for the powerful bits of messaging about inequality. This is to say, his poetry doesn't guarantee equation into listenable bops. But let's end this with a smile by imagining what it would have looked like to see one of these modern Republican losers calling Tupac woke to his face, as though caring about injustice is some sort of mental disorder. Anyway, that's going to do it for now. Until next time, fill your world with music.